Hey, welcome.
Hi everybody.
We are here in our rocking chairs
On the front porch.
in Chattanooga, and we are loving it. We're gonna try to keep our voices down. It's not too loud, but you know, we have neighbors that are not far.
What's that thing in the middle of the screen?
That is the reflection of our little ring there. We have several lights going on. We were just on Instagram explaining this, but we have several things set up here to try to make this happen because we are so excited to be doing our first, as Matt said just a minute ago, remote No More Sundays. Well, I guess true. I don't know. We did one where we were like in two different places, right? Yeah.
So.
Well, yeah, because I was at Ryan and Hannah's and you were at home. Yeah, we did. We did on Zoom. Yeah, it was cool. But yeah, we've done this for, this is our 37th episode, which is hard to believe. And we've been doing this for so many weeks now. And of course, you guys can only imagine, like 4 minutes before we were supposed to go live, there were like tons of fire trucks and police cars like right down the road from us, like right next to us. So hopefully all of that is okay. They're not doing the sirens anymore, but if you hear anything, sorry. Hopefully whomever is hurting or whatever is doing okay. We're really hopeful for that. But right now they just kind of have their lights and stuff going on. And so we are on a fairly busy street. I mean, it's not super crazy, but occasionally you might hear a car go by. So, but tonight we're going to be talking about, I call this Let's Get Real. And what we mean by that is let's get down to the nitty-gritty of what it looks like about making a dream a reality, making something that we would normally say someday actually coming to life, bringing it to life and making it real. So we were just going to talk about some different aspects that we're doing right now with in Chattanooga to make our dreams real. So yeah. You want to get us started, or do you want to start with our first point? Okay. So the first thing we were going to kind of hone in on is it's hard to make a vision a reality without clarity, without specifics. And so one thing that we've done over the last few years is got specific about where we want to live. We kind of, quote unquote, woke up a few years ago, about 4 or 5 years ago, and said, hey, we don't really want to live in Indiana for our whole lives. We kind of thought we did originally, but when we really sat down and started dreaming about it, we realized we wanted to have more options. And so we ended up going around, and if you know our story, we've gone to several different cities, and we ended up kind of landing on Chattanooga and how much we loved it here, and Tampa and how much we loved it there. And so we've just gotten more specific over time about not just the location, but now, you know, where would we want to live here and what would it look like to live here?
Yeah, and I mean, you could drive yourself crazy. There's so many great places, not just in the U.S., but around the world. I mean, it's,
this is true.
You only have so much time, and so you could drive yourself crazy thinking, well, what if out west is better, and what if the East Coast is better, and what if somewhere overseas is better? And you spend 20 years searching for that exactly perfect thing, and then you've wasted a ton of time and resources. And so there's a point that you have to kind of hone in on, like Megan said, where exactly it is. And I don't know what it was, but I mean, we've talked about this before, but when we came to Chattanooga, it was just like, I don't want to say magical, but almost magical. And
it
just
really
when
was.
we come back here, it's like you almost question, like, was it actually what we thought it was with the first couple times?
Right.
And you keep coming back and you have the same feeling, and you just feel this connection that is really special. You almost think, well, maybe my ancestors thousands of years ago used to live here or something, because there's just that whatever connection. But yeah, like you said, refining what it is that your vision is really important. Yeah. And I think that's what we've kind of done is, okay, yes, we're starting in Tampa, but eventually, then that second part of that vision is having a home in Chattanooga. So then you can start lasering on, okay, now if that's the vision, then what are the next steps to actually get there now that we know exactly what we want?
Right. And some of you may or may not know, but we looked at around 15 houses in Chattanooga before we ended up landing on the one that we have now in Tampa. So, I mean, we were looking in both places. It was just harder to come here, all the time. So we tried to kind of condense down into one setting, coming and looking at some homes here and really making it a reality. And so for us, it's looked like looking at specific homes, looking at specific areas of the city now to try to get more specific, and also thinking about what would our life look like here, because it's different than being near the beach, being near the mountains, or being near where like more of a certain type of activity goes on. Like a lot of people bike here all the time, not to say that other places they don't, but they bike here all the time, they go hiking, there's a lot of outdoor activities, things are just different here. And so just looking at, okay, what would our day-to-day look like? There's a lot of places that we just love to go here, and it's different than in Tampa, and so that's really exciting. And one thing for us, in kind of maybe speaking quickly to narrowing it down, is like, think about what you would want your day-to-day to look like. If you know that you're not gonna go to the mountains if they're 2 hours away, then you may want to be in a place where you're closer to the mountains, or whatever it is. If you know you're not gonna go to whatever, or you're not gonna do the thing that you're wanting to do, then if you're really far away and okay, that's going to be a detriment, or whatever it is, then that's something that you need to factor in. And for us, it was like that. We knew that if we lived, a lot of people were like, oh, why don't you just live in North Carolina or whatever? And because then you could be like an hour from the beach, hour from the mountains. But we specifically loved Chattanooga, and we loved Tampa, and for a lot of different reasons. And one reason that we loved Chattanooga too was because you can be downtown in like 10 minutes from a couple of different mountains. And we absolutely loved that. And we feel like we're coming home to this area, and it's such a good feeling. So, so making it a reality and kind of breaking it down, we wanted to get down to the specifics of like proximity. So if you're wanting to make something a reality, one example that we were talking about earlier was like, you want to have a boat or something like that, okay? Then, okay, do you know somebody with a boat? Do you know somebody who knows somebody who has a boat? Like, is there somebody at your church or your networking group or your neighborhood that has a boat or knows somebody who has a boat? Would they be willing to take you out on it? Things like that, where you can really start to get the proximity of like, what is it like to own a boat? Because sometimes too, one thing we realize too is, you can get close to something and see, oh, this is really what it's going to take, or this is what it's really going to be like. And I don't know if I really want that,
Yeah, I mean, if you want to, even taking it out of the realm of things, if you're wanting to get a promotion, or you think you want a certain job, then you want to be in contact with those people who have that job already.
Exactly.
Or have been in a similar position, and they can kind of, again, whether it's a mentor or something of that nature, can really speak about what it is. And then also, you, like Megan was saying, you can get a closer look at exactly what it means, because sometimes we have these ideals or these visions, whether it's something we saw or a friend had XYZ, and we think, oh, I want that too. But then when you get close to it, you realize that isn't really what I want. I just wanted maybe the prestige that came with it, but I don't really want the work. Or I wanted the money that came with it, but I don't really want the stress that comes with it.
Right.
And so getting closer to that, it not only gives you possibly an inside track to whatever it is, but it also gets you to see what it's going to take, what actually is it from a day-to-day perspective, not just what it seems like from the outside. Because a lot of things seem really great on the outside. It seems like a dream, and it can really sometimes be a nightmare the closer you get. Exactly. But finding ways to be close to that is one of the things that you want to be able to do, to see if that's really what you want, and to see if you can, what it's going to take to get there.
Yeah, and for us, that's looked like coming here multiple times, and not necessarily just like hopping on a property and being like, okay, it's okay, we come back, we visit, we stay here as long as we can. Like, one thing this time was we were hoping to stay for a month, but with our schedules, it just didn't quite work out. But, we're here for 2 weeks, and getting to know the area and getting to know even just like the people around us and the neighborhood. Like, this neighborhood that we're staying in this time is just so nice. Like, we've been loving it, and people are very friendly, and we've just really enjoyed staying in this area or living in this area of town for this brief time. And so getting to know those different aspects is in proximity to things. Like, how long would it take if we lived in this part of the town to a part of town to get to the grocery store, other things, or what would it look like to do X or Y here? And so getting the details for us has been really huge and really exciting, because then we can actually get closer and closer to making it a reality.
Yeah, and you don't always, you have to be able in a situation like this to see stay a long enough time where you're actually in the day to day, because I'm still working most of the days we're here. Megan's still working. It's not, you go on vacation sometime and it's amazing. You spend 2 or 3 days, you go to all the fancy dinners, you do all the cool things.
This is true.
And then you go home, and that's really not reality. You can't really do that every day. And so that's why we wanted to come for an extended period of time to be able to see really what is just, you wake up, you go to work, you walk the dog, you have to go get groceries, you go to church, whatever it is. What does that actually look like every day? And is it still a great place to live? And so far we're 1 week in, it seems like it is still everything we thought it was. But we're take that example and use it to apply to what your situation is.
Exactly.
You have to get in the day to day. You can't just get into the high points to where it's really exciting and fun.
Right.
You actually have to be in it to really figure out if it's what you want or not.
I totally agree. And that is another advantage of, for us making this a reality was, what is it going to be like, or what would it be like living day to day with our normal schedules, and what would be feasible on a day-to-day basis here, and kind of simulating that. So that's pretty fun. So then kind of once you get in proximity and start to meet the people and learn about the details and everything else and what is it really going to take, then we think it's important to create experiences that are going to give you that feeling, like us being here for these 2 weeks, like us going to the grocery, or visiting the church, or walking in the neighborhoods, or going to the restaurants, or hiking, or whatever it is that is giving us the experiences. Because one reason, obviously, that we already mentioned is you're gonna see, okay, is this nitty gritty really worth it? Is it really what I think it's gonna be? But another thing is that where you are right now is not where you want to be at, right? And so getting in that that mindset, that groove of like, okay, if this is going to be a reality in my future, okay, now I need to be motivated to do the work now so that I can make this a reality in the future.
Yeah, and I think, we have this bigger goal, let's say. I don't want to say long term, because we don't want to say it's going to take a long time. So we have this ultimate goal of moving to Chattanooga, having a house in Chattanooga. And so obviously we can't do that at this moment. Financially, we're not in a place yet. So how do we simulate that as much as possible?
Right.
While still keeping that in mind, but still enjoying, because again, it's no more someday, so we're trying to live this every day,
right.
Not just in 20 years we'll have a house.
Right.
So again, part of that is coming here several times a year. Part of it is then extending it. But then, how do you apply that in what you're trying to do? Let's say that you want to travel overseas. Well, maybe you have to save up a lot of money, and right now you can travel because of COVID anyway. So what could you do? Well, maybe we can have a night every week where we cook food from that area, where we watch a movie from that part of the world, where we learn about that culture. And you could do that a lot of different ways, where you're still priming your mind, you're still building that intention of living that goal in a small way right now.
Yeah. Exactly. No, I love that. And I think, any way that you can bring that future reality into your current reality, I think is so key. And this, again, we've talked about this before, but like dreaming with your spouse and having those times of like, or even if you're single, like, sitting with a friend with a cup of tea or, some ice cream, I don't know, and just dreaming, or maybe it's your family, whomever, but, just having that time of dreaming and being able to think about, okay, what would this be like, and how can we bring more details, more excitement, more of that future desire into the now. And because then, like you mentioned, we're trying to live this every day we don't want to live in the future, we want to live in the present, right? And so to bring that into our present is so key. And there's so many times I talk to people, especially in my business, like I'll ask them like, okay, if you could do anything, if you could go anywhere, if you had unlimited resources, like what would you do? Where would you go? And people are usually like, I would want to do a trip to wherever, like Austria or Greece or whatever it is. And I'm always like, oh, that's so amazing. But usually what happens is, not just with me, not just with them, but a lot of us is like, we just stop right there. We're like, oh, I would do this. And then that's it. Done. Period. But what are you doing, like you mentioned, that could be bringing that into your everyday and into your now?
Yeah, and just another, I mean, we talk a lot about health too. If you're you're wanting to run, you have a big goal of running a marathon or any kind of thing of that nature, start doing those things. What does a person that lives that life do on a daily basis? What does a marathoner do on a daily basis? And start emulating those actions. Right. What does somebody do that has time freedom and doesn't have to rely on a 9-to-5? Well, they there's certain activities, there's certain habits that they have.
Yep,
exactly. Maybe you can't do all of those right now, but you can do some of those. So what are those? And start living them. Not, again, like you said, we just say, I want to go to, if I had unlimited resources, I would go live in a chateau in Austria. Well, maybe you can't do that right now, but are you going to wait till this someday that may never happen, like 50 years down the road? Right. Nobody's going to come and give you that. And sometimes, at least I've fallen guilty of this, to think that, I'm just going to somehow, some way, some cosmic thing is going to happen, and one day they'll hand me the keys to whatever I want, to the home, to the car, to the body, and that just doesn't happen. Unless occasionally, 1 in a million, you have a rich uncle that dies that you didn't know, and they give you $1 million, whatever. But that doesn't happen. You can't count on that. So what are you doing on a daily basis to take those small steps to eventually get there? And the thing is, you're going to feel a lot better about getting there because you had part in that. You put the work in, as opposed to having it given to you. And so maybe you have to be creative in I know it's not easy to say, my goal is so huge, I want to own my own company and I don't have any money right now. But there are things, if you're creative, that you can start doing.
Absolutely. And there are people that like more people than you think you do. You absolutely do. Like, I bet you a lot of you have at least 500 to 1,000 friends on Facebook or followers on Instagram. Like, who do they know? Just start asking people, like, hey, who do you know that does XYZ? Who do you know that has their own company? Who do you know that has a second home? Like, one thing when we started this is I started telling people about it. Just start telling people about your dream. And so I started telling people, hey, like, our goal is to have a second home in Chattanooga. And it was interesting because I ran across this woman when I was telling people about about our goal, and she said, yeah, my goal is, because we said we wanted to have a home in the near the beach and a home near the mountains, and she goes, I would take that one step further, and I would like a home also in the city. She was like, I would like a loft apartment or whatever. And I was like, oh, that's so cool. And she goes, but I want to warn you about something. And she goes, there are some things that are trickier about socially and other things that happen sometimes with having two homes. And she's like, I've totally done it, I've lived through it, but I just want to make you aware. So there are things that you may learn, there are things that you can watch them do, or just say, hey, I don't expect anything from you, I just would love to shadow you or see what your life is like, or meet you for coffee one afternoon and give you whatever, or treat you to some coffee or whatever it is. And I think you would be surprised at how willing people are to meet you where you are and say, hey, I'd love to share some about what I've done to get to where I am now.
Yeah, and I think another example of this is in philanthropy. You'll have a lot of people that say, I'd love to have this foundation where I give back and I'm able to support all these people. And if you ask them, well, what are you doing now to give back? Well, they may not be doing hardly anything.
Right.
And so there's nothing holding you back from saying every month that your foundation is giving $50. Right. I mean, that's, in practicality, you're doing the same thing. So your $50 you can direct to wherever you want, and you give from your foundation to whatever cause that you're passionate about. Exactly. Now, maybe that's not $1 million, but I guarantee whatever foundation, whatever thing you're passionate about, would rather have your $50 than no dollars. Yeah. And so even in that example, you're doing the thing.
Yeah.
The scale is different, but you're doing it.
You're totally
and so
doing it.
Again, that's going to continue then, because you're going to get that feedback of, I'm doing it, I'm on the path, that most likely is going to generate more opportunities for you to create that and make it even bigger than what it was.
Absolutely. I totally agree. So the last thing that kind of goes along with the experiences is visualization. So we really wanted to emphasize that, like with whether it's, you know, for us having a second home, or if it's the boat thing for you, or the foundation, whatever it is, have things around your home that you're seeing every day that are reminding you of your goal. And you can do this in so many ways. You can have, sorry, there's like a billion bugs out here, especially with all the lights. You can have like something on your phone that's like a background image. You can, like one of the things this week, we were by a cool sign that said Chattanooga, and we had Zan with us. And so Matt held Zan, and I took a picture of him by that Chattanooga sign. It's like a big metal thing. And I was like, oh, this would be so cool to have as a part of my vision board, which, if you don't know what a vision board is, it's just like different pictures or things that you cut out or, you know, find on the internet, and you put together that basically spell out your dreams without words necessarily. Sometimes they can include words. And so this is, you know, having pictures like that and getting yourself as close to as possible to those things and being reminded all the time is really special, and it really helps to bring it again into the present moment. And we saw a really cool thing the other day. You want to talk about that?
Yeah, I mean, there's a cool store here that has a lot of local Chattanooga goods, you know, baked goods, coffee, different arts things, clothing that's from Chattanooga. And one of the things they had was an art, a picture, not really a picture, a painting or drawing from, and it had different, you've probably seen similar things, that it's kind of a collage of different areas that are specific to Chattanooga, and that are really unique, some of the mountains, some of the landmarks. And so we're most likely going to get it and hang it in our house, because then you have that reminder of, hey, this is where we're going, this is where we're headed, so that you're going to see it every day. And if you don't have space in your house, you can just, if you have a notes app, something similar, you can create these pictures that you can just look at, you know, name the note app vision board or something, and then go in every day, or when you're at work or when you're working out, and just pull that up and see exactly what it is, or have both. You know, have one in your home and then one on your phone that when you're out of the house you can go look at, and you know, you have that right there to constantly be feeding your mind those thoughts that are going to help you get to where you're wanting to go.
Yeah, and you can even have pictures in your car. I mean, there's no limits on that. Obviously, don't want to block your vision while driving, but you know, like on your dashboard or wherever you have some space. Another one is Canva. They have some great like templates where you can just put a bunch of different pictures in like this cool template and save it to your phone, and that's really easy too. You can do it to your computer. You can print it out. I mean, there's just so many different things that you can do. It's just a matter of putting it in front of you and making it a reality. And I do think there is something to you know, talking about it and mentioning it, and hey, you know, when we do, then it helps to bring that again into that present. You know, I think it was last summer maybe that you mentioned like, hey, we should rent an apartment, or we should rent a place for like a month or so in Chattanooga, and really kind of simulate what is it going to be like to live there. And you know, and we were so thankful we could bring Zan as well, and really kind of get the full effect. And so, you know, just anything you can do to try to bring it into the present moment, even though we weren't able to do it at that exact moment, within a year, we've been able to make this a reality. So.
Yeah, and ideally being able to tell those friends or those family members that, you know, we're going to support you and not, you know, judge necessarily what those dreams are, regardless of what they are. That support system is important, and I do think, you know, if it does, there are going to be people, especially if there's something monetary in nature that you're having a goal, there are probably going to be some people that are going to judge that to some extent.
For sure.
So you have to be careful, because especially in, you know, the culture or how you've been brought up, or who you're around, it can be seen, any material goal can be seen as, well, it's selfish, or it's motivated by just wanting more and more and more. And so I would caution you to be, you know, if you do have those goals, one, do check yourself to make sure it's not just selfish motives. It's not just something that you want for, you know, bad reasons, but you do have to be careful who you're sharing your goals with. And hopefully you're starting to cultivate friends, family, that not only are you sharing your goals with them, but they can feel free and open to share them with you.
Exactly.
So that you can be that sounding board and that person that's encouraging them to strive for what they want.
I couldn't agree more. Is there anything else that you wanted to say? I was just trying to think of.
I'm just gonna plug my course thing.
Please do.
So if you can, I don't know, we have my Instagram on here. I have an Instagram account called The Design Man. It's apart from my personal one that I share men's lifestyle and style tips. And starting in May, I'm going to be doing a 4-week style course. We're going to be talking about all things from the psychology of style, maybe how you were brought up to create your own style, the influences on your style throughout history, why we dress the way we do, and then also very practical, applicable tips to help you cultivate your own style, something that's unique to you, that you feel good in, that you feel confident in. And so it's going to meet starting in May every Thursday at 7 o'clock. We'll do Zoom, and I'll be recording those so that if you're not able to attend, you'll get that. It's $60 for all 4 weeks, and so it's only $15 per hour. You're also going to get a PDF of everything we talk about, also a 30-minute one-on-one call with me. And if you have any questions, just drop it in the comments. Either way, get a hold of me. I have more details on at thedesignman.com, also on my Instagram accounts. So just get a hold of me anyway if you're interested, and we can talk about it further. But really looking forward to it. I think it'll be really beneficial. And sometimes it's something that, especially as guys, we don't think about. But anything that you're wearing, anything kind of that is going to show who you are, it's all part of who you are. And so you want to present yourself in a good way, even in this culture that we're not necessarily in person as much. It's still important, not just how you project yourself, but how you feel about yourself. And I can tell you, the better you dress, the better your clothes fit, the more you feel like they're portraying you, the better you're going to relate to yourself and to other people. And so it's still a really important thing, in my opinion, and we're going to talk about that a lot in May.
And there are 6 slots still available?
6 available. It's going to be group, so I want to keep it intimate, so we're going to cap it at 8. There's currently 6 spots still available, so get them while you can.
Yeah. No, I think this is going to be great. And you guys, even if you're a woman watching, please tell your husband, tell your son if this is applicable, or your dad, or whomever, the men in your life, because I really think that this is going to be amazing. I almost want to take it, even though I'm not a guy, because I'm just really curious. But I just think that, I just know that Matt has so much to offer. He's done so much research and has put so much into this course. So definitely check out thedesignman.com. Let Matt know if you have any questions, and he still has those 6 slots available, so you definitely don't want to miss out on that. It's an incredible value, just $60. So yeah, so I think that's mostly all we have tonight. We've just really been enjoying it here. We've really loved it.
I feel like we need to be ambassadors for Chattanooga or something. Like, we should be getting paid how much we talk about it, because it really is a special place.
It is.
And even though it has the perfect blend of big city, or city and country. It's 2 hours from Nashville, 2 hours from Atlanta, I think 2 hours from Birmingham or something.
And 2 hours, less than 2 hours from Knoxville. Yeah,
it's just a great place, and maybe we won't come back to Tampa. I don't know.
No, just kidding. No, yeah, we really love it, and from the first time we've been here, it's been incredible, and we've just been really enjoying it. So let us know if you have any questions. We're, as always, we'd love to talk more about what this has looked like for us, or if you have anything specific that you'd like to know more about. We're seriously open books, and we just love being able to share our journey, and we're honored that you guys are coming along with us. And we're going to be here the rest of this week, heading back next Sunday. So we will not be back next Sunday due to travel again, but we will be back, Lord willing, in 2 weeks. And we just thank you guys so much. As always, please follow us on @NoMoreSomedays with a Z on Instagram. We will be doing that giveaway once we get to every 100 followers. And then also follow us, or I should say subscribe to our YouTube channel, No More Some Days, just spelled normally, and share it with your friends, please. We would love to be able to spread this message of No More Some Days to as many as we can, and continue to help people out. So,
thanks, guys. Have a good night.
Good night, guys.